Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here in the next, sequence of videos. We're going to be talking all about the upcoming WWE Hell in the Cell pay-per-view that's going to be coming down this Sunday live from Los Angeles. I can honestly tell you that when I look at the Hell in the Cell card, it reminds me a lot of the pay-per-view Elimination Chamber that was held a few months ago. Honestly, when I look at the card, there's matches on this show, but nothing that I'm really attracted to. Nothing really jumping out saying this is a must-see show. I think that once I sit down and I watch Hell in the Cell on Sunday, honestly, Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar inside of the Cell is going to be a great match. Hopefully, Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt will blow my expectations out of the water and, be a career monumental match for Roman Reigns to make him, move on from the Wyatt family, move on to the next, sort of, I guess you can say, roadblock that's going to be in his career. Hopefully they can really heat this guy up, because as of right now, with no Stone Cold Steve Austin or Shawn Michaels, no, outside guy coming into WWE. It seems that WrestleMania is really going to be relying on the homegrown talent of WWE and NXT, that, Roman Reigns more than likely will be tapped to be going after the WWE Championship in the main event of WrestleMania this year. So we need to see what we can do to get him, as hot as can be, so when he wins the Royal Rumble this year, there will not be a backlash of fans, saying that they don't want to see Roman in the main event. Hopefully they can get it to the point where, it's like, it's time. This is what we want to see. I will tell you that, honestly, I will probably not be watching this show live. I am very lucky here in Sacramento, California. There's a music festival going on Saturday and Sunday as well, but I will not be going for the music. I actually don't care anything about the music. I'm actually going to be going just to watch NXT, who's going to be putting on two shows, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. My buddy Victor sent me the I guess you can say schedule for the show, where they're going to be having a 1-hour pre-show meet and greet, and then they actually have, a list of matches. They're going to take a good long little break, and then they come back and do a little bit more of a show. So I think it's going to be really cool, really fun to see NXT. I've never been to a concert festival, I guess you can say, sort of like this before, but I don't care for Marilyn Manson, or I can't even really remember a lot of the bands that are on there. I think Slipknot is going to be there, if that's what you're into. Honestly, I hope that there's not blaring music, over the fact of the wrestling crowd, or hopefully the wrestling crowd will be loud enough to sort of drown out the music, because it's just not my cup of tea. But maybe they're going to try something cool where actually they have music playing while they're wrestling, and maybe they try to fit the tempo of the match to the song that the band is playing. I'm not sure, but I'm really hyped up about that. Finn Balor, Tyler Breeze, the Enzo and Kaz, they're all going to be there. Those are the people that are, I guess you can say, on the poster, or they're on WWE.com saying that they're going to be at the show. So I guess that's all that's advertised as of right now. NXT is on the poster, but it's on the really, really bottom. So there's no real, set in stone what's going to be happening. But I'm really excited for it. But I know that I'll watch Hell in a Cell when I come home on Sunday. You look at the list of matches. You've got a pre-show match of just straight geeks. That's the only really way to put it. Cena is going to be putting the United States Challenge up, on pay-per-view for the first time, with a surprise guy coming out. I think people are putting real high expectations on what's going down. Owens versus Ryback is going to be fighting for the third pay-per-view in a row. The Dudleys and the New Day, they're going to be fighting for, I believe, the third pay-per-view in a row as well. It might be the fourth if you count that Madison Square Garden show. I'm not real sure. You've got Charlotte versus Nikki in a rematch of a rematch. And you got Kane going up against Seth Rollins in a match that really doesn't matter. Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns in the feud that will never end. And then, of course, in the main event, Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar inside of the Hell in the Cell. This is supposed to be the match to end all, be all for this feud. Honestly, to me, I wouldn't be that surprised if they have some sort of a goofy finish in this match yet again, and making it where at WrestleMania we have to see Undertaker versus Brock do it again, because I don't know, I just, unless, Brock kills, and I'm saying kills Undertaker inside of Hell in the Cell, and it's Undertaker's, retirement moment, he surrenders, he quits, he says he can't go on anymore, and then he goes into the WrestleMania Hall of Fame at WrestleMania 32. I mean, that's the only outcome that I can see that, looks good for everybody. If Brock loses, Brock is Brock. Brock lost to John Cena. Brock lost to Triple H. Those were both losses that, honestly, to me, hurt him. But we'll have to see, what goes down at the pay-per-view. Like I said, I'm sure when I sit down and watch this, I'm going to be more hyped than I am right now. But just to me, I mean, I wish that I could go to the show only for the fact that I got some friends going to the show and it would be cool to hang out with them. But it's where I'd be if it wasn't for the Hell in the Cell. Or I'm sorry, I'd be at Hell in the Cell if it wasn't for that NXT Aftershock show happening here this weekend. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm sure I'll be hyped when it comes, but I'm not hyped yet. Alright, on the WWE kickoff to Hell in the Cell 2015 live on the WWE Network, as well as all other platforms, you can watch the match to get you hyped up for the show. I understand that when they started the kickoff, this was something to get you ready to say, like, oh man, it's going to be a good night. I really am pumped. If you were, last second on the fence, you would be calling up your cable operator and ordering the pay-per-view. But as of now, everyone I know has the WWE Network. I think this is just some sort of goofy way to make you turn into the pre-show in order to listen to them babble on about, trying to hype up the matches that you've already seen. It's sort of like an outdated sort of deal, but it's just an extra match. Sometimes they actually give you a match that they built up on Monday Night Raw or on SmackDown. For this kickoff, it's almost as if they just stopped trying. It's like they just don't even care. Honestly, it's a 6-man tag involving Dolph Ziggler, Cesaro, Neville, going up against King Barrett, Mr. Money in the Bank, Sheamus himself, and Rusev. This is just straight up a matchup of geeks. This reminds me of the old school WrestleManias, where you just have like a random 10-man tag, and that it would feature, Virgil, Tatanka, the Smoking Guns, just all of the random teams that just were not hot when it came to WrestleMania time. Just get everybody out there on the card, make sure everybody gets a pay-per-view bonus, make sure everybody, gets to wrestle in front of the live big crowd. When it comes down to it, honestly, I don't even know what to say of this match. I mean, I've made thousands of these videos hyping up pay-per-views, and I always have something to say about just about every match. But when it comes down to this match, I mean, like, you look at Rusev, you look at Ziggler, they just had a major feud fighting over Lana and Summer Rae, due to the whole, TMZ deal, as well as, just all other garbage that's going on. This feud was just ultimately dropped. Cesaro is probably the best guy with the most talent in here. Sheamus is a 2-time WWE champion, as well as probably a 2-time World Heavyweight champion I can think off the top of my head. Neville's a guy that, honestly could be one of the brightest big stars of WWE. Wade Barrett came in at WWE in 2010 looking like he was going to be one of the big things to really shock the system, and, he's not. It's just, everybody likes this guy, but just WWE just never wants to put anything behind him. I forgot, Ziggler's even a World Heavyweight Champion himself. There's so much talent inside of this ring, but there's no way to draw it all together. The only way that WWE.com was able to do it was saying, the 6-man tag match brings you, the 6-man tag team match brings into conflict 3 of the WWE's most dynamic athletes with the trifecta of the roster's hardest hitting and most rugged bullies. No buys. I don't even know what to think about this. On Raw, they had this match. It was an even match. It had a finish. It was clean, but yet, for some reason, on the kickoff, they're doing it once again. I know that Randy Orton got injured and he's not going to be part of the Hell in a Cell show, which scrapped the Dean Ambrose, Randy Orton versus Braun Strowman and Luke Harper match that was supposed to go down. Honestly, I was really looking forward to making a video talking about how far Randy Orton and Dean Ambrose have fallen to the point of wrestling on the pre-show and just not really having any impact on this show, whatsoever. Just Randy Orton came into that feud, and we never even got a 6-man tag on pay-per-view. You had one on Monday Night Raw, and that was the blow-off of all blow-offs. I'm not looking for a whole lot out of this match. I don't even know who won the Raw match, because I didn't care about it. But when it comes down to it, I'll take the good guys. I'll take Ziggler, Cesaro, and Neville to get the win, and then more than likely Sheamus blowing up at his team for letting them lose, maybe giving another bro kick into the face of Rusev, something that was never talked about yet ever after the Madison Square Garden show when they sort of turned on each other after they had lost the opening tag match. So we'll see. Hell in a Cell kickoff. Gonna be a big one. Woo! Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. The Intercontinental Championship match going to be taking place at WWE Hell in a Cell 2015. This match, of course, is going to be Kevin Owens coming in as the reigning Intercontinental Champion, coming up against the previous Intercontinental Champion, Ryback. Ryback, to me, honestly, had a good little run with the Intercontinental Championship. You could tell that, honestly, after his injury, and they kept the title on him and doing the match instead at SummerSlam, that WWE had some plans for Ryback holding the Intercontinental Championship. I was a little bit surprised that after finally getting the three-way between Ryback, The Miz, and the Big Show, that at Night of Champions, Ryback would lose the belt so fast. But honestly, to me, if he was going to lose the belt to anybody, he lost it to the right man. I mean, Kevin Owens having the Intercontinental Championship really fits his, prize fighting mentality. You know that this guy wants to climb up farther on the card, making more money to support him and his family. Having the Intercontinental Championship is something that really means a lot. To moving up inside of WWE. I know that when I think of the Intercontinental Championship, I think of the Table for Three that just went down with Ryback, Dolph Ziggler, and Daniel Bryan, talking about, Dolph Ziggler bringing up the fact that when he was Intercontinental Champion, when he was a kid, and he would think of the Intercontinental Championship, he would remember, all of the great champions, Mr. Perfect, Tito Santana, Texas Tornado. Those are three that I really think about. Bret Hart, people that held that belt and that was elevated them in order to get into the WWE Championship picture. Of course, Mr. Perfect would have a feud against Hulk Hogan, never able to accomplish, becoming WWE Champion. Bret Hart, he won the title, he lost it at SummerSlam to the British Bulldog, and then, out of the middle of nowhere at a house show in Canada, Bret would become WWE Champion. I think that Kevin Owens is somebody that, honestly, in my mind, is that something that the people could get behind. I mean, I don't want to call him a poor man, Stone Cold Steve Austin, but honestly, I think that a lot of people like Kevin Owens. You can really tell that WWE knows that he's a big WWE shop mover. Sells tons of shirts and coffee mugs and this, that, and the other. He has lots of fans out there. If you were able to get a babyface, persona behind him, which every guy who's a heel, once he finally turns, he becomes the guy that everybody loves to get behind, because they couldn't for so long because of all the dastardly, devious things that they were doing. That it almost always works out for the better. Kevin Owens, to me, honestly, is a guy that if I, had money to put a bet down to become a future WWE champion, it's a guy that I think it's going to be. But Owens, cheated. I guess you can say he cheated. He got away with it. That finger eye poke to Ryback, where Ryback would drop him, and then Owens rolled him up for the 1-2-3 at Night of Champions. Definitely was a finish to the match that no one thought it was going to be coming. There was no finisher, just a simple roll up 1-2-3 out of the middle of nowhere. From there, they would have a rematch on SmackDown. At that point, Ryback decided that that Kevin Owens thought that, it wasn't worth it for him to, put the championship up, and at one point during the match, he just sort of took the count out and left. So he would become, keep on holding the championship. At Hell in the Cell, they're not going to be in the cell, but that more than likely is probably not going to be an option. I don't see them, redoing that sort of finish. But I would love to see Kevin Owens, beat Ryback, keeping the championship. Ryback's another guy that I really like as well. I mean, I don't think Ryback's chopped liver. The whole time that he was, teaming with Curtis Axel, and just being a heel, it just was praying. Like, this was a guy that was so hot just a couple of years ago at the anniversary, of Ryback filling in for John Cena, going up against CM Punk. Really did save the pay-per-view, because if they didn't have somebody that was hot like Ryback at that time, I don't really know what they would have done. And, it was damn good. Of course, they would play off, the Hell in the Cell leading into the TLC match, which they ended up having to deliver on Monday Night Raw because Punk got hurt and had to take the month of December off. But, he had his time, and then all of a sudden they turned him. I think the downfall of Ryback was that WrestleMania 29 match against Mark Henry, and just, loss after loss after loss. It doesn't really help anybody. But at Hell in the Cell, I'm picking Kevin Owens. I think he's going to be the winner, and he's going to roll on with the Intercontinental Championship. The chase is still on. Honestly, in my opinion, this might be one of the last chances for the Dudley Boys to accomplish their dream of winning their 10th WWE World Heavyweight Tag Team Championship at WWE Hell in a Cell, going up against the New Day. We've seen this match play out twice in WWE, Dudleys against the New Day. And in both of those matches, the Dudleys have come out on top, but they've only come out on top via disqualification. In both of those matches, Bubba Ray and Devon had the match, close in hand, and Xavier Woods, the third member of the New Day, would roll into the ring and basically break up the match, causing a disqualification. I believe in both of those instances, the Dudley Boys put Xavier Woods through a table in the ring, getting their revenge, but they don't want revenge. They want the tables, they want the titles. I think it's honestly going to be a big night at WWE Hell in the Cell 2015 for the New Day. I would not be surprised if they do drop the Tag Team Championships to the Dudleys. The Dudleys have come into WWE. They've been really on fire. It was sort of a surprise them coming over from TNA, because it was like, when Bubba Ray came over at the Royal Rumble, it was almost like he was testing the waters, trying to get a job, but it seemed like WWE only wanted him for the one night for the Philly show. The rumor came out that they had plans to use him for the NXT Philadelphia show that came up, but Bubba ended up taking a booking, going back and being a special guest referee as Bully Ray on TNA Impact. Word was that WWE, was really hot about that, and they were, basically canceling any plans of him coming back there. We saw Velvet Sky return and become a part of the TNA Impact show, sort of making you think that that's maybe where Bubba Ray would turn up, so they would be able to tour together and go to shows and things like that. And then out of the middle of nowhere, night after SummerSlam, the Dudleys show up, and honestly, they've really deserved their spot. The New Day, in the last few weeks of Monday Night Raw, we've seen them used as more, I guess you can say, vicious heels instead of just being the fun-loving, baby face that everybody loves to hate sort of deal that got them over to the point. We've seen them more vicious, taking out, Ziggler, taking out the Dudleys, taking out Cena. There was a pretty vicious beatdown on Monday Night Raw a few weeks ago. I would not be surprised if that was all to get over the fact that, they're trying to get these guys over as bigger and more imposing heels instead of guys that just cheat to get victories, match after match. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to make this prediction in this video, and then I'll talk about it again during the John Cena Open Challenge. But basically, the New Day said that they were coming for them championships, talking about going after more titles inside of WWE, on the Chris Jericho podcast, as well as on the Table for Three. They talked about their goal is not just to be involved in tag team wrestling, but to sort of branch out, maybe have two guys wrestling as a tag team, maybe having one of the guys wrestling as singles matches, which we saw at Money in the Bank this year. We saw Xavier Woods get a shot to go after John Cena during the U.S. Open Challenge. We saw Biggie Langston and have a shot to go after the challenge on Monday Night Raw as well. Kofi Kingston never got a shot. I thought it was going to be that next week, but I definitely think that, honestly, he is going to be the man, and it's going to end up being a 3-on-1 encounter. We've seen John Cena go up against the New Days the last 2 weeks on Monday Night Raw in tag matches with the Dudleys. We've seen him go after the United States Open Challenge in 2 of the weeks before that. The New Day has been all over Cena, and no one's really noticed. In the last few days, a lot of people have been talking about, James Storm. People have been talking about Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, Tyler Breeze, lots of guys coming over from NXT. But honestly, in my opinion, Kofi Kingston versus John Cena, that's the match. We haven't got to see it yet. We're going to see it at Hell in a Cell, and I believe it's going to become a 3-on-1 encounter. And the New Day, they might lose those tag titles to the Dudleys, but I'm not going to be surprised if they leave that U.S. belt and then try to get it over the point if they're going to be defending it the same way as the tag titles, with the Freebird rule, passing around the belt guy to guy, going up against different guys inside of the United States, like I was going to say division, but I guess you can say the ranks of the top contenders of the United States Challenge. Woo! The Divas division. We have a Divas Championship match coming up at WWE Hell in a Cell 2015, which of course is going to be Charlotte going up against Nikki Bella in a rematch from Night of Champions. I don't know what has happened. You barely even hear Divas Revolution talked about if it's not other than Michael Cole on the show. Basically, WWE took the Divas Revolution with Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Sasha Banks debuting on WWE Monday Night Raw just a few months ago before SummerSlam, and just really ran it into the ground to the point of people that were excited about it. I think it's over and done with. I think that honestly, when the initiative came to Paige to get a group of girls to help her take out Nikki Bella as champion and try and be able to fight off Alicia Fox and Brie Bella and beat Team Bella down to the point where it was just going to be a straight one-on-one match with no interference and nothing else on the outside. No, twin magic with Brie slipping into the ring and getting a pin or anything like that. The plan was that, Paige was going to be the girl to do it. It ended up being one of the girls that came in to help Paige. Charlotte rose to the ranks and became the Divas champion. And I think that surprised a lot of people, especially Paige, to the point where Paige blew up at Becky Lynch and Charlotte, did the big old huge shoot promo. I thought what the plans were for the Divas championship at Hell in the Cell was going to be Paige versus Charlotte versus Nikki Bella. And, Paige, isn't part of Team Bad, but she's, sort of just a free agent now. She's out there. She's on her own. Now they got this magical storyline going where Paige is trying to get back into Team PCB, trying to get them reunited because I guess she's jealous of Natalya sort of coming in and joining the group. I don't know if they're going by NBC or what the hell they're doing, but now the storyline is that Natalya has been taken out. No one knows who did it. Everybody's fingering the questions at Paige. I don't think that Paige did it. I don't think that Paige had anything to do with it. But the interview that she did on Monday Night Raw, basically talking about Sally Jesse Raphael, bringing up the fact that Medusa was the one that took over. Lita is in the back at WWE Monday Night Raw. It could be anybody from the past. It might be somebody from the future. I mean, Nia Jax might be showing up on WWE Monday Night Raw. Might be shooting right through the developmental, right to the main scene. But I think once this all pans out, I think that Paige is going to be innocent. I think she's going to come off as the babyface. I don't think it's really, hurting Paige to be a heel. I don't see her selling less shirts. I don't see her having less fans. I just think that maybe they thought about turning her heel and then they just sort of pulled back like, hey, this is, pretty much the bread and butter of the Divas division. I think it makes sense to keep her on this pace of not being a straight heel. But then again, if you look, what's been going on, since Sasha Banks' big match against Bayley at TakeOver Respect, now they're trying to treat Sasha Banks like she's a big baby face. Would not be surprised if she ends up getting a title shot sooner than later. She's a good worker. I mean, she's a really, really good worker. Hopefully, her and Charlotte would match up and have a good thing. But I think step one is removing Nikki Bella from the championship picture. She has to get a rematch after losing a Night of Champions. I wouldn't be surprised if Charlotte wins this match and opens the door to all of the other matches that we could be getting. Charlotte versus Sasha Banks, Charlotte versus Paige, Charlotte versus Becky Lynch, once Becky Lynch is able to step out of her shadow. And even, Charlotte, versus Tamina. No, I'm just kidding. But we'll see. I mean, this is going to be a good match. Nikki's, has always been one hell of a worker. I want to see what happens with Team Bella once they sort of move out of the championship picture. Is Brie going to start wrestling and become the face of the group, or is it just going to be the John Cena's girlfriend show and Nikki always being that, future #1 contender? Big surprise for WWE. Of course, everybody who follows the Stevie Breach channel and watches all the videos, I've been talking about John Cena taking a leave of absence for WWE for a couple of weeks now. I honestly thought they would have got a storyline started for John Cena 2 weeks ago with him having a United States Open Challenge, maybe having somebody, from the main roster or somebody from NXT debuting, maybe taking out Cena, and really getting a roll on starting something up for themselves. John Cena leaving for 2 months after Hell in a Cell. He's not going to be on Monday Night Raw live from San Diego, and it couldn't happen at a worse time. With Randy Orton's injury, they definitely have Dean Ambrose, which they can try and heat up, but I don't really know what they'll do for John Cena's United States Open Challenge. I mean, easily, if you go back to Night of Champions, the mystery man that was going to be tag teaming with The Shield definitely was the one thing that, more people cared about than anything else on the pay-per-view. People were thinking it was going to be The Rock. People thought it was going to be Baron Corbin. People thought it was going to be Samoa Joe. People thought it was going to be, Eric Rowan at one point. They thought it was going to be 1,000 different people. And so, with the United States Open Challenge, where we've seen John Cena have great matches against, Stardust, Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose was the first one that I had for WrestleMania. That was a real big surprise to have him come out. In the past few weeks, we've seen him fight against Big E and Xavier Woods. Even Seth Rollins took a shot to go after the championship. Definitely if you go online, the big names that people are talking about, that's rumored is, John Cena going against Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze, surprise, surprise, makes his WWE main roster debut on SmackDown this week. This video is being taped on Tuesday. The match will be shown live in Canada Wednesday night, and then from there it'll be leaked around the world until it's on in the United States. I think we're the last people to get SmackDown in the entire world on television. A lot of people will, find an illegal stream that's based out of Canada and watch it on Wednesday if you still watch SmackDown. But Tyler, to me, honestly, would be a great guy to bring up and put into this spot where he could be going after this belt. Even if you win it, it's definitely a way for NXT guys to come in. You beat John Cena, the face of the WWE. But then, of course, what comes from that. John Cena would definitely come back and then have to beat Tyler Breeze 3 pay-per-views in a row, like we've seen him do with Ryback, like we've seen him do with Kevin Owens. It's just not a big win-win situation to have somebody, come in and immediately beat Cena like it did for Kevin Owens. It might even hurt him more than it helped him. Daniel Bryan coming back from his injury. There's definitely a spot open on the main roster. I know that Dave Meltzer was talking about that it is sort of up in the air if WWE might be holding back Daniel Bryan to the point where they don't want him coming in until after WrestleMania because they want to have a Royal Rumble, they want to have a WrestleMania where the fans aren't going crazy. Daniel Bryan has ruined those last 2 things for him. It's not like Daniel Bryan's the guy ruining it. It's just the fans wanted to see Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30. And then the fans, after the long hiatus of Daniel Bryan due to injury, wanted to see him again get another shot to go after the title at WrestleMania 31, seeing how this is a guy who's never lost the championship. He had an injury, he got hurt, he saw the writing on the wall, he gave the belt to the Authority, and next thing you know, this guy's in the Intercontinental title hunt. It ended up being short run because, right after WrestleMania, I believe he wrestled for like 3 months tops. Bryan was hurt and back on the injured reserve list now. But, Bryan is very adamant. Every interview he does, he says that he is cleared by his own personal doctor. He does want to wrestle. Whatever he has to do, get a WWE release and wrestle on the independents, that is his dream. That he wants to continue wrestling because it's what he's always done and it's what he's always loved his whole life. That I don't really see Daniel Bryan being the guy. Samoa Joe is not currently booked on the WWE NXT Aftershock show that I was talking about earlier here in Sacramento. Samoa Joe could be in LA. I'm not 100% sure that it would be him. Of course, on the NXT show, if you're following that, which, so much of that is already pre-taped, and it's not that much hard work to get Samoa Joe one day off from a house show if he was moved to the main roster to make sure that he would go back and wrestle a match against Finn Balor for the NXT Championship. I just don't see Samoa Joe as the guy that's going up to the main roster sooner than later. I think that, he would follow along with the line of guys where maybe Vince McMahon is saying, all right, it's okay if you sign these guys and you bring them in NXT and they get to keep their own personal name. But I think the guys that they have plans for, whether that's, Finn Balor, Asuka, Hideo Itami, those people who are in the long-term picture for WWE, those people need new names, so WWE will, own them, and they'll be able to put them on figures, they'll be able to put them on shirts, and then if they ever choose to leave the promotion, they won't take it with them. Sami Zayn is a guy that got injured during a United States Open Challenge. We've seen him do the Evolve shows last week in New York. He did not wrestle, he did do promos, he did sign autographs. It's been 5 months since his injury on Monday Night Raw, and I don't know how long it takes for him to get over that injury, but Sami Zayn would be a great name. I'm just looking at a poll right now being run by Ringside News, and he is in last place with barely any votes, 39 votes out of 478, so a very small percentage of what's going down. And then, of course, the guy that is probably going to be going after the WWE World Heavyweight Championship after Hell in a Cell, Dean Ambrose. Ambrose is the guy that needs a match. He's not currently booked on Hell in a Cell. If you do want somebody to have a big match against Cena and lose, Ambrose could be your guy. Ambrose is a guy that's been heated up to go after Seth Rollins' championship a few times. He was being dropped down to the pre-show, so it sort of shows you that he's not in the highest graces of WWE as of right now. It's sort of like, well, we'll just worry about it once Cena finally leaves. But honestly, in my mind, I talked about this during my the New Day video. New Day, we're taking shots going after John Cena in the United States Open Challenge. We saw John Cena wrestle against Xavier Woods. We saw him wrestle against Biggie Langston. We never saw him wrestle against Kofi Kingston. I think that Kofi Kingston is going to be the guy answering the challenge against John Cena at Hell in a Cell. I think that the New Day, they're possibly going to lose to the Dudleys. I think the Dudleys are winning the tag titles at Hell in a Cell, but I would not be surprised if Kofi Kingston is the surprise man, ends up being some sort of a 3-on-1 ordeal. We've seen the New Day being booked as more, vicious heels. We saw that with the beatdown of Dolph Ziggler, the Dudleys, John Cena on Monday Night Raw a few weeks ago, and then it was never really followed up. We've seen Cena and the New Day wrestle in some 6-man tags on Monday Night Raw, but we haven't seen just a straight-up one-on-one match, finishing off the triad of the New Day. So, at Hell in a Cell, my pick for John Cena's Open Challenge is going to be Kofi Kingston. Wouldn't be surprised if the New Day and Kofi Kingston pulls away with the championship, and then sort of go with the sort of Freebird rule of defending the title on Monday Night Raw, of, who's the champion for the night, getting into the ring, going up against whoever is going to be going up for the championship. Alright, let me get this off my chest here, alright? I've been watching WWE since Night of Champions. I remember that show. Basically, Seth Rollins defended his championship twice that night. Well, he defended 2 championships that night. Seth Rollins lost to John Cena. Came out again, beat Sting in the main event. Then after that was being tried for his 3rd match. Sheamus came down to cash in his Money in the Bank. At that point, the Demon Kane came out of the back and basically said that nobody was going to be defeating Seth Rollins for that WWE Championship unless it was him. Demon Kane disposed of Sheamus. Demon Kane disposed of Seth Rollins, and held the WWE Championship over his head, very victorious, acting like he was going to be the future WWE Champion. champion and be moving forward, as the guy in the authority that was running things these days. Kane and Rollins have had their disappointments. They've had their misunderstandings, where basically Seth Rollins blamed Kane for the bad plan leading up to the contract signing for the Battleground match against Brock Lesnar. At that point, we saw Brock Lesnar break Kane's leg. Seth Rollins ran outside and delivered more damage to Kane. And I don't know why Kane has never thought to take any, anything out on Brock for, initiating the leg being broke. Maybe he just feels that Rollins put him in this situation basically by Triple H saying that he was in charge and his plan better work or it was going to be his job. Ends up being that Corporate Kane, through, just some technicalities, weaseled his way backstage at WWE, weaseled his way back into his job by just talking over Triple H and talking over Stephanie and just being too nice of a guy that nobody wanted to, fire him or, tell him that he wasn't supposed to be there. Almost like Milton from, Office Space, pretty much. But, in this whole time, Corporate Kane is running around backstage at WWE, but Demon Kane is coming down, interrupting Monday Night Raw. Demon Kane is, destroying Seth Rollins, just basically laying him out at one point. Rollins is having a match against John Cena. After the match is over, Demon Kane emerges and pulls Seth Rollins under the ring to sort of take him on a trip to hell. I've been watching all this. I know all this has happened. Even at the point where Demon Kane beat Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw in a lumberjack match, even after like 12 guys jumped in the ring and all took shots at Demon Kane. Demon Kane did the Undertaker sit-up and then took everybody out. Even though I've seen all this and know all this part, I don't understand how this match got signed. It's even got a stipulation where if, Demon Kane loses, Corporate Kane will not be a part of WWE and the Authority or anything anymore. Basically saying that Kane will not be on WWE television anymore. I don't remember any of this. I don't know where any of this has come from. I honestly thought that they were going to have to put this match together on Monday Night Raw, and I thought that, with 2 losses, to Demon Kane and all of the beatdowns, why Seth Rollins would want to face Demon Kane, seeing how his character basically runs away from matches like this and things that go down. I don't know. Seth Rollins really hasn't been really booked all that well. He hasn't really been booked as a strong champion. 3 wins, 2 against Ryback, 1 against Neville since August. Lots of losses, lots of beatdowns. It was awesome to see him rejoin the Shield and have a Shield reunion. But I'm not really sure what they're doing this match for. It's no favors to Seth Rollins. I know that you probably wanted to have a WWE Championship match on the show, but you have Brock Lesnar, you have Undertaker, you're trying to push Roman Reigns to be the incumbent future of the WWE. Maybe you wanted those 2 matches to be really strong, so Kane just seems to be the guy. Maybe they wanted to have sort of a career pinnacle moment for Kane to sort of leave out on. I guess you can say that's the same reason why they gave Sting the match at Night of Champions. Maybe they just wanted to have Kane walk away. We've heard for a long time, even going back to Daniel Bryan, was going to wrestle him, and it was going to be his last match. It was going to be his retirement. He was going to lose a Buried Alive match, and the Kane character was going to be dead. That was a year ago. We've heard stories of Mark Henry basically saying that he's walking into Vince's office to say that he's quitting and that he's leaving WWE, he's going to retire. Next thing he's knowing, he's signing a contract extension to stay in the company for 3 years. I don't know if Kane is that kind of guy where Vince just is scared to lose him because he doesn't have anyone of that imposing size. But honestly, when it comes down to it, even though they've sort of put this match together that well, I'm not really looking forward to it, but I'm not at the place where I am like if it was Big Show versus Rollins, where I'm just saying like, good God, this is a guy that I don't understand how nobody wants to see this guy, and you keep pushing him out in these big, high-quality matches. There's no real build to this match. Honestly, in my opinion, I think this is the match to get Rollins back on track. he's having a bump in the road. He beats Kane. From there, maybe he fights Ambrose at the next pay-per-view, and they can have a good little run, because as of right now, with Randy Orton being injured, I'm not sure who is going to be taking him on, but take your money, take a little second mortgage out on the house, put it all on Rollins to win this match, because there's no way in hell that Kane's walking out with the WWE Championship. This match was one of the weirdest turn of events for WWE. Honestly, before Night of Champions really even got going, after one match, they announced at Hell in a Cell we were going to be seeing a Hell in a Cell match between Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. No build to it, nobody appearing on Monday Night Raw, just a commercial on the pay-per-view. This is going to be the Hell in a Cell. Basically, I thought that a lot of people could live with that, seeing how basically you needed to have a pay-per-view, you needed to have a main event. Brock versus Undertaker was not going to be taking place at WrestleMania, taking place at Hell in a Cell. Was a big match that means a lot, and it could be really, really big. At the time, Night of Champions, you were having the Shield reunion without Seth Rollins. I guess it was Ambrose and Reigns fighting in a tag match, going up against the new Wyatts, which would be Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, and Eric Rowan wasn't there, Luke Harper. And they were going to have a mysterious mystery partner. A lot of people were thinking a lot of different names, whether if that was going to be, it ended up being Chris Jericho, but at the time people were thinking it was going to be The Rock. People thought it was going to be Baron Corbin. People thought it was going to be the guy selling soda in the back, maybe somebody debuting from NXT, anything to help put the Shield over and have them go into it. It turns out that the Jericho version of the Shield was not able to pull out the win. The Wyatts stole the victory, and they were really down about it. From there, Randy Orton would return the next night on Monday Night Raw. The reason why he wasn't able to join in this match is because the Raw before, he was taken out by the Wyatts in a 3-on-1 affair after a Sheamus versus Orton match on Monday Night Raw. You would think that they were finally building to giving us this 6-man tag. It ends up being that the 6-man tag is played off on Monday Night Raw. And then out of the middle of nowhere, Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt in the Hell in a Cell match. Basically, Randy threatened Roman, basically saying that Roman was going to get one last chance to go out there and have a one-on-one match against Bray Wyatt. And then once this was over, Randy was going to take this into his own hands, and he was going to be going after it. That match ended up being split off and going into the pre-show, which is a match that's not going to happen due to Randy Orton's injury. It was supposed to be Orton and Ambrose in a match where I think they were going to start fighting each other, which was going to build to a feud between the two of them. Even though they're both baby faces, both guys sort of fighting for respect, fighting for power over, blaming each other. I thought that honestly they were going to lose that match, which was really surprising that it was going to be the pre-show match, because I didn't really think that they were going to have a chance to win that. I thought that them, building up and fighting each other was going to be able to build up the Ambrose brand, build up the Orton brand, and have the fans get behind the two and build them up to a higher point. Now, with no Orton, I think that Ambrose is going to go off. It seems to me put him in the picture of filling in that main event slot, going up against Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. Keep him building strong until the Royal Rumble where he can win it, and then you got him going into WrestleMania as the man again, probably against Brock Lesnar. Now that all that boring crap's out of the way, I haven't been that big on Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt. It's been very boring. Honestly, any guy that's really touched Bray Wyatt in one-on-one feuds, to me, honestly, it's just bored the crap out of me. Jericho, Dean Ambrose, The Undertaker, Roman Reigns. This guy has just been kryptonite to anybody getting over. I think that the Bray Wyatt character is a really good character. A promo here or a promo there is great, but a promo on Raw, a promo on SmackDown, it just is boring. It's repetitive. I don't really understand what the hell the guy's saying. I like to see you wrestle, but when you come out and you bore me time after time, it takes me a long time in order to get into your matches, and sometimes I don't even really know why two guys are going at it. I think that honestly this could be a career making moment for both of these guys. It could be a really good match. Definitely, I'm betting the farm on Roman Reigns to win this match. Hopefully, it kills the feud. I don't even know where Roman Reigns goes from here if he's not fighting Bray Wyatt at Survivor Series. It just matters to me that he's not fighting Bray. That's the only thing that I really care about. But here's to a great match. They're going to beat the hell out of each other, and the future of the WWE. Brock Lesnar's Go to Hell tour concludes at Hell in the Cell 2015. A real big surprise match capping off Brocktober on the WWE Network with Brock Lesnar fighting Big Show on the WWE Network on the Madison Square Garden show. Brock Lesnar appearing last night on the Stone Cold Steve Austin show on the WWE Network after Monday Night Raw. And then, of course, main eventing Hell in the Cell against Undertaker in a rematch from SummerSlam inside of Hell in the Cell. What a way to cap off this feud. I don't even really know where to start. I mean, Undertaker versus Brock is probably one of the biggest rivalries inside of WWE. I mean, honestly, WWE Rivalries is one of the biggest shows that I talk about on the WWE Network. It's one of my favorite ones. I don't know why they don't make more of these, but I am, excited that they are trickling out. We've seen a few really good ones the last few weeks, but I didn't hear of them putting a new one on this week, so I don't know why they're coming out like 3 at a time, and then they're taking a long absence off. It just seems like WWE Network knows that these shows are good and people like the new content, but they don't have time to sort of produce a lot of it because they're doing Swerved and Rivalries and that NXT show is going to be coming out sooner than later, Breaking Ground. I don't know. Honestly, to me, I love the WWE Network. I don't like to talk a lot of crap about it. I've been thinking about doing like an in-depth review all this time later about it. But I just don't. There's things about it that I don't like, and that's basically just what I want to get off my chest. But when you talk about you're paying $10 a month, you're getting, like this month we're getting 2 specials, that being the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view. We're getting that Madison Square Garden house show, the Stone Cold Steve Austin show, being able to go in and watch pretty much any match over the history of WWE. If you wanted to watch any of the Hell in the Cell matches, you basically go to the search feature, you type in Hell in the Cell, or you type in the matchup that you want to see, and you're watching the match before you can even snap your fingers. And you go back, I mean, this feud, they talk about it like it started at WrestleMania 30, but this feud actually started in 2002 when Brock Lesnar was coming in and being forced, taking over WWE even in his rookie year, going in, winning the championship from The Rock at SummerSlam, and then immediately it was The Undertaker stepping up to Brock Lesnar, basically saying that, he was too big for his britches, he was coming into the yard too fast, and it was time that somebody came up and they humbled him. And Undertaker and him wrestled a match at Unforgiven, which ended with a disqualification by basically the referee trying to make a break and nobody wanting to break it up. A pretty weak finish, but, they brawled all the way to the back before Brock Lesnar would grab... No, it was Undertaker grabbed Brock Lesnar and threw him through the Unforgiven pay-per-view entrance, which was like the big Unforgiven, words that were all set up. And it was a pretty big effect to see him go flying, basically into the backstage area through the set. Very, very cool. From there, they battled in a Hell in the Cell match. At this match, they beat the piss out of each other. It was a real blood brawl. I mean, both of these guys got split open, and this one, Brock Lesnar went over on The Undertaker. He picked him up for a big F5, and he sort of walked all the way around the ring like it was King Kong. And then once the match was over and he exited the cell, he climbed all the way to the top with the WWE Championship, and he held it up over his head to sort of signify that he was the biggest, baddest man on the planet. He beat Undertaker in his own match in the Devil's Playground there at the Hell in the Cell, and he was the man. A year later, these guys would cross paths again in a like a biker's chain on a pole match or some crazy crap like that. This match, honestly, might be the most, let's forget this match ever happened. I can't even remember the name of what this show was on. It might have been on No Way Out or something like that, but those first 2 matches were great. You get to see these guys, really beat the hell out of each other, but it's not really a great match because something's on a pole, and I think that honestly, anytime anything's on a pole in a wrestling match, it's not going to be that good. But these guys crossed their paths as Brock Lesnar challenges Undertaker at WrestleMania 30, shocks the world by beating the streak. From there, even though the Undertaker wrestled at WrestleMania 31 against Bray Wyatt, he would show up and cost Brock Lesnar a chance at the WWE Championship to try and change the course of history. Basically, taking a match at SummerSlam, trying to erase the victory at WrestleMania. I know that year they were trying to make SummerSlam out to be the new WrestleMania, with it being in Barclays Center and then also having NXT as well as Monday Night Raw, making it a 3-day weekend for wrestling fans to take over Brooklyn and New York. But to me, honestly, beating someone at SummerSlam doesn't make up for ending a 23-year, 21-win streak of, being able to win at WrestleMania. I honestly thought each and every year that the WrestleMania streak from Undertaker didn't mean as much to me as it did to a lot of other people. I think that honestly it didn't make a lot of sense to me that Undertaker was able to turn it on the biggest stage of them all and make sure that he got the win at WrestleMania when, year after year at SummerSlam, Undertaker would lose. Year after year at Royal Rumble, Undertaker would lose. Why did it matter for him so much to win at WrestleMania? Why couldn't his character just be somebody like Goldberg, where he just made sure he never lost? It just doesn't make sense to me. Whatever Undertaker was able to flip a switch and be able to turn it on and become this bigger than larger than life persona at WrestleMania, why couldn't he do that every night and use the power of the urn or whatever the heck he was going to do? SummerSlam came and Brock Lesnar, to me, honestly got the win. The referee, Charles Robinson, awarded the match to The Undertaker after not seeing Undertaker tap out. This was a big story that not that many people are really talking about, is the fact that Undertaker tapped out in a match for the first time, even though it wasn't seen and it wasn't recognized. This is kind of a big deal. It sort of shows that Undertaker as a character is getting older. The storyline for WrestleMania 31, that, because he had lost at WrestleMania, he was just merely a mortal man. He wasn't fighting as the dead man anymore. He was fighting as the Undertaker, or you could almost say that he was fighting as Mark Calloway, that he had lost all of these special powers that hung above him. At Hell in a Cell, we're going to have to see. I mean, there's the part of me that really wants to see Undertaker get killed and then basically be forced into retirement, basically saying that he's not going to be able to do it anymore. And then Undertaker becomes the WrestleMania Hall of Famer. But to me, honestly, if you wrestle all the way up until this point, why not hold on and have a match against WrestleMania? But then at WrestleMania, who do you use against Undertaker? Bray Wyatt was kryptonite. I know that they have this sort of thing where they like to, do rematches, but it's not like anybody's really clamoring for another Bray Wyatt versus Undertaker match. We saw the 2 matches against Michaels. We saw the 2 matches against Triple H. Those were freaking awesome. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of a screwy finish in this one. And they have to have the match at WrestleMania again, even though they've promised us all that this is going to be the last time that these guys go at it. But then again, WrestleMania 28 was supposed to be once in a lifetime, Rock versus Cena, and then they ended up doing it again at WrestleMania 29, and they learned from that one. You don't do that again. And then again, if Undertaker wins, what do you do with Brock? I think Brock would have to win the Rumble in order to get really heated up for WrestleMania again, because people really get excited for it. So we'll see. I mean, that's going to be the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view coming up. My pick for this match is I'm going to pick Brock. I just think that's the easiest pick for everybody. So we'll see. I'm going to have a ton of fun at NXT on Saturday and Sunday. Once I get home, I'll watch the show. And as always, I'll have the reviews up for you guys. Peace out, everybody.